Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, everyone. Let me begin with a simple story. During World War II, a poster was created by the British government with 5 simple words: keep calm and carry on. It was never widely seen during the war. In fact, it wasn't until the year 2000 that someone rediscovered it in a used bookstore and it struck a nerve. Why? Because chaos is timeless. So is the need for calm. Today, we're constantly hit by pressure, deadlines, uncertainty, change. The world doesn't slow down, so how do we keep moving forward without falling apart? The answer is not hustle. It's not grinding harder. It's composure. Calm is not the absence of stress. It's the mastery of response. Today, I want to share 5 powerful principles that show how keeping calm isn't just a nice idea. It's a winning strategy, not just for survival, but for true sustainable success. Let's dive in. When we panic, we narrow our vision. We stop seeing possibilities and start scanning for threats. It's a biological response, fight or flight. That same instinct that kept us alive in the wild can sabotage our thinking in the boardroom, in a crisis, or during a tough conversation. The problem isn't the pressure, it's how we process it. When our mind is flooded with anxiety, we become reactive. We grasp for quick fixes. We answer without listening. We decide without understanding. We do things that feel urgent instead of what's truly important. A study from the University of Minnesota revealed something astonishing. Anxiety can reduce cognitive function by up to 30%. Think about that for a moment. That means you could be losing nearly a third of your ability to think critically, solve problems, and communicate clearly, not because of your skills, not because of your intelligence, but simply because your brain is under emotional siege. That's the cost of chaos. Now let's flip the lens. Let's look at what happens when calm is present. There's a story that stands as one of the most powerful illustrations of clarity under pressure. It's the story of Captain Chetley Sullenberger, the man who became an international symbol of leadership and composure in a moment where panic would have been expected, maybe even justified. On January 15th, 2009, U.S. Airways Flight 5049 took off from LaGuardia Airport. Just minutes into the flight, disaster struck. A flock of birds disabled both engines, complete power loss. Altitude was dropping fast. There was no time to plan a meeting, no chance to consult a manual, no second opinions. In those seconds, every soul on that plane looked to one person, not because he had all the answers, but because they trusted he wouldn't unravel. What saved the lives of 1555 people that day wasn't only technical training or thousands of logged flight hours. Those mattered, yes, but they weren't enough. What made the difference was something more foundational. It was calm. He stayed composed, he assessed, he communicated, he made decisions not from fear but from focus. He did what few people can do when everything is on the line. He created clarity. There's something extraordinary about how he later described that moment. He said that even with alarms blaring and seconds slipping away, he felt a strange quiet in his mind, a stillness. That quiet, that clarity was the very thing that allowed him to act with such precision and purpose. He didn't act faster, he acted better. This isn't just about airplanes or life or death emergencies. It's about all of us. Every day we're faced with moments, some big, most small, that challenge our clarity. A disagreement with a colleague, an unexpected email from your boss, a sudden change in the market. When we're reactive, we become part of the noise. But when we remain grounded, we can see through it. Clarity doesn't come from knowing all the answers. It comes from being calm enough to ask the right questions. It comes from having the discipline to pause when everyone else is rushing. It comes from choosing awareness over impulse. We often glorify speed. We reward fast answers, quick pivots, rapid responses. But the truth is, speed without direction is just movement. Progress comes from alignment. And alignment only happens when there's space to think, space to reflect, space to see. Calm gives us that space. Imagine a leader who walks into a crisis meeting already carrying panic in their eyes. They speak fast, they bark orders, they throw solutions at the wall, hoping something sticks. What happens to the team? The morale drops, confusion rises, fear spreads. Now picture a leader who enters the same room, takes a breath, and begins by listening. They aren't detached, they aren't passive. They're steady, they acknowledge the stakes, but they refuse to let pressure hijack the process. That kind of presence is magnetic. It doesn't just lead people, it grounds them. The same principle applies in parenting, in teaching, in any role that involves other humans, which is all of them. People mirror emotion. When they see panic, they feel panic. When they feel you're calm, they begin to regulate themselves. That's how cultures are shaped, not through slogans, but through emotional example. We sometimes believe that staying calm means suppressing emotion, but it's the opposite. It's understanding emotion, it's naming it. It's refusing to let it dictate every move. Emotional maturity begins the moment we stop running from discomfort and start responding to it with clarity. When we embrace calm, we invite perspective. We start to see patterns instead of problems. We start to understand that every challenge is a chance to lead with intention. Think about the most respected people you've known: teachers, mentors, coaches, leaders. Were they the loudest, the flashiest? Probably not. What we remember is how they made us feel, especially in moments of uncertainty. Calm is memorable. It creates a kind of emotional gravity that holds things together when the seams begin to stretch. It's also important to say this: calm is not something you're born with. It's not a personality trait. It's a skill. It can be practiced, cultivated, strengthened, just like any muscle. It starts with the breath, with self-awareness, with choosing not to send that email when you're angry, with asking one more question before drawing a conclusion, with walking away when everything in you wants to shout. There is wisdom in slowing down. There is power in not reacting. Some of the most effective decisions in business, in relationships, in history were made not in haste, but in quiet deliberation. Because clarity always rewards those who wait for it. And here's something worth remembering. Calm doesn't mean you're not afraid. It means you refuse to be ruled by fear. That's what makes it strong. That's what makes it rare. In the world we live in today, one of constant distraction, outrage, noise, calm is not the default. It's a conscious choice, a radical act of leadership. When we choose it, we signal something deeper. We tell the people around us, I am here, I am present, I am focused. That signal, that emotional anchor, can make all the difference in how others respond, how they show up, and what becomes possible. Because clarity isn't just a personal advantage, it's a gift we give to others. When you are calm, you create a space where others can think clearly too. You set the tone, you shift the dynamic, you transform reaction into resolution. And over time, you become known not just for your results, but for your presence. That unshakable sense of composure that others lean on when the pressure mounts. And in the end, that's what leadership really is. The ability to see clearly when others can't. The willingness to stay steady when others shake. And the courage to pause, breathe, and move forward. Not from panic, but from purpose. Leadership is often misunderstood as a show of force, a booming voice, grand gestures or commands that shake the room. But true leadership isn't about who shouts the loudest. It's not about how many followers you accumulate or how many trophies line your shelf. Real leadership begins quietly in the stillness of inner control. It is about creating a sense of safety and trust in a world that often feels unpredictable and dangerous. When everything around you is shaking, the most powerful thing you can offer is calm, grounded presence. People are incredibly perceptive. We constantly scan the emotions of those around us, sometimes without even realizing it. We pick up on subtle shifts in tone, posture, and expression. When a leader remains steady, even when the storm rages, others instinctively feel safer. Conversely, when a leader succumbs to anxiety or frustration, it ripples through the team like wildfire, igniting doubt and fear. This is not just a poetic notion. It's grounded in science and psychology. Consider the work of Daniel Goleman, who studied emotional intelligence, the ability to understand and manage our own emotions, and to empathize with others. His research showed that 90% of top performers possess high emotional intelligence. This isn't some abstract soft skill reserved for counselors or therapists. It is a critical competitive advantage in leadership, decision-making, and teamwork. Being emotionally intelligent means knowing how to regulate your reactions, how to listen deeply, and how to respond with empathy and clarity. This kind of control doesn't mean suppressing your feelings or putting on a mask. It means acknowledging your emotions without letting them drive your behavior. It means pausing long enough to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. It's the difference between exploding in anger or calmly addressing a problem, between shutting down or opening a conversation. When the pandemic hit, businesses everywhere faced unprecedented uncertainty. No playbook existed for navigating such a crisis. Among many stories of fear and confusion, one stood out for its leadership grounded in emotional intelligence. Airbnb, a company that had grown rapidly over a decade, suddenly saw the world shift beneath its feet. Bookings evaporated overnight. The future was uncertain and the company faced massive layoffs. Brian Chesky, Airbnb's CEO, faced a monumental challenge, and not just operationally, but humanely. Rather than crafting a polished PR statement or deflecting blame, Chesky chose transparency and honesty. He wrote a letter to employees explaining the layoffs with a tone that was simple, heartfelt, and grounded. He didn't pretend it was easy or painless. Instead, he acknowledged the pain and uncertainty while reaffirming the company's values and vision. That letter wasn't flashy, it didn't feature buzzwords or corporate jargon. It was real, it was human. And because it came from a place of calm, Chesky built trust in the face of upheaval. Employees didn't feel betrayed, they felt seen. They didn't just receive news, they received empathy. This example underscores a fundamental truth. People don't need perfect leaders. They need leaders who are composed, leaders who embody the strength to face adversity with grace. Leaders who demonstrate that while the world might be chaotic, we don't have to be. It's easy to feel that emotions weaken us, especially in professional environments where control and strength are prized. But emotional intelligence reveals that vulnerability paired with control is the true mark of resilience. A leader who can admit uncertainty, who can say, "I don't have all the answers," yet remain steadfast in commitment, invites others to do the same. This creates an environment where trust flourishes and innovation thrives. Imagine a team where the leader frequently loses composure. How does that affect morale? People become hesitant to speak up, fearing negative reactions. Creativity stalls because the environment feels unsafe. Stress levels rise, leading to burnout. Contrast that with a leader who models calmness, someone who listens deeply, remains patient, and addresses challenges with steadiness. Such a leader cultivates psychological safety where team members feel valued and empowered. That kind of emotional safety is priceless. Studies by Google's Project Aristotle showed that psychological safety was the single most important factor in effective teams. Teams where people felt safe to take risks, share ideas, and admit mistakes outperformed others consistently. And none of this can happen without leaders who manage their own emotions first. Mastering inner control also means embracing the uncomfortable moments. It means sitting with frustration, fear, or disappointment without letting them spiral out of control. It means creating a mental space where you can observe your emotions without becoming enslaved by them. There's a story of a firefighter who faced a devastating blaze that threatened his entire community. Flames roared, homes burned, and lives hung in the balance. The firefighter admitted later that the fear was overwhelming. But what made him effective wasn't the absence of fear. It was his ability to feel the fear and still move forward with focus. His calm was contagious, reassuring his team, helping them coordinate their efforts under impossible conditions. That example highlights an important point. Calm leadership doesn't mean absence of emotion or weakness. It means courage. The courage to feel deeply, but act deliberately. Cultivating this kind of emotional control isn't about ignoring your feelings. It's about practicing mindfulness, reflection, and self-awareness. It's about checking in with yourself, recognizing when you're off balance, and taking steps to re-enter. This might mean taking a deep breath before responding to criticism, stepping away for a moment during a heated meeting, or simply acknowledging your stress instead of burying it. Over time, these practices become habits. And those habits shape not just your leadership, but your entire life. Because emotional intelligence is contagious. When a leader models empathy and steadiness, it trickles down. Teams become more compassionate. Communication improves. Conflict decreases. People begin to see each other not as obstacles, but as allies. This transformation is subtle but profound. We are in an era where leadership is being redefined. The old archetypes of commanding and controlling are giving way to more nuanced, emotionally intelligent approaches. The leaders who will thrive are those who recognize that managing the emotional climate is as important as managing the financial bottom line. It's tempting to think that tough times call for tough leaders, but toughness without empathy risks alienation. Strength without compassion breeds resistance. The leaders who endure and inspire, those who lead from a place of inner control, who recognize that the heart and mind must work in harmony. Ultimately, emotional intelligence is not just a leadership skill, it's a way of being. It's the capacity to navigate the human experience with grace, to hold space for complexity and contradiction, and to foster connection even when uncertainty abounds. So when you feel the world spinning out of control, remember this. Your greatest power is not how loudly you can shout, but how deeply you can listen to yourself, to others, and to the moments in between. That is the essence of emotional intelligence. That is the foundation of lasting leadership. Fear has a way of shutting doors, especially the door to imagination. When anxiety creeps in, it narrows our focus to what might go wrong, what could fail, what dangers lurk around the corner. It locks our minds in a cage of doubt and worry, closing off the vast expanse of possibility. But calm, true calm, has the power to unlock that door. It invites us to breathe deeply, to pause, and to open ourselves to what could be rather than what can't. A calm mind creates space. It doesn't just silence the noise, it clears the clutter that crowds out fresh ideas. It replaces the frantic, "what if I fail?" with the hopeful question, "what could work?" That shift in perspective is subtle but seismic. It changes the entire landscape of possibility and sets creativity free. Pause for a moment and think about how many revolutionary ideas in history have emerged, not in chaos or frenzy, but in stillness and reflection. Moments of quiet have birthed some of the world's most transformative breakthroughs. Take J.K. Rowling. She didn't conjure the wizarding world of Harry Potter in a boardroom or a frantic brainstorming session. She dreamed it up during a delayed train ride, a moment of unexpected pause. The rhythm of the train, the quiet unfolding of time in that delay, gave her the mental space to imagine a world unlike any other. It was in that stillness that creativity found her. Well, consider Steve Jobs, a man often associated with speed and innovation. But if you look closer, you'll see that he understood something crucial. Slowing down was essential to thinking differently. Jobs insisted on walking meetings, not just as a health fad, but as a deliberate choice to step away from the noise and clutter of traditional meetings. Walking opened his mind, helped ideas flow freely, and allowed for deeper reflection. He didn't chase ideas in chaos, he invited them in with calm. Creativity at its core is an act of clarity and openness. It cannot thrive in chaos because chaos narrows the mind, fragments attention, and fuels fear. When you are overwhelmed, your brain defaults to survival mode, focused on avoiding mistakes and threats, not exploring new possibilities. But when you cultivate calm, you create fertile ground for imagination to grow. Calm invites curiosity. It lets you lean into uncertainty without fear. It helps you see challenges as puzzles to solve rather than obstacles to avoid. And this mindset is the birthplace of innovation. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do isn't to push harder or work longer, but to simply breathe, to step back, let go of the pressure, and allow yourself the space to think again. Breathing deeply slows your heart rate, lowers stress hormones, and brings oxygen to your brain, helping you reset and refocus. There's a simple wisdom here. Creativity doesn't come from doing more, it comes from being more present, from giving yourself permission to slow down and listen to your thoughts, your environment, and your inner voice. This is especially important in a world that often celebrates hustle and constant motion. The culture of busyness tells us that every second must be productive, every moment filled, but relentless speed often starves creativity. It doesn't allow ideas the room they need to breathe and mature. When you cultivate calm, you resist this rush. You create a mental environment where ideas can emerge naturally, where inspiration is not forced but invited. It's in these quiet moments that connections form, insights dawn, and innovation blossoms. So next time you feel overwhelmed or stuck, remember this. Stepping into calm is not a luxury, it's a necessity. It's the foundation from which creativity springs. It's the quiet before the breakthrough. By choosing calm, you open the door to new possibilities, to novel solutions, and to the kind of creativity that changes everything. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply breathe and then think again. Your energy speaks louder than words ever could, even in complete silence. The way you carry yourself, the rhythm of your breath, the steadiness of your gaze, all of these send messages to those around you. We are wired to sense this energy, to absorb it, and to mirror it back. This is why calmness and panic are not just personal states. They are contagious forces that ripple through teams, families, and communities. In emergency rooms, veteran nurses know this truth intimately. They train relentlessly, not only in medical skills, but in mastering their own emotional states. They understand that panic spreads faster than infection, that fear is viral in ways germs are not. When a crisis erupts, a sudden trauma, A critical patient, they don't just treat the body, they hold the space with steady hands and calm hearts. Their composure anchors everyone, patients, families, doctors, and even other nurses. Panic, by contrast, accelerates chaos, clouds judgment, and fractures teamwork. This phenomenon is not confined to hospitals. It plays out every day in boardrooms, family gatherings, classrooms, and sports teams. When a leader stays composed, people feel safe, they feel anchored. They know that even if the storm is raging, there is a steady rock they can hold on to. But when a leader wavers, when panic bubbles to the surface, uncertainty spreads like wildfire. There's a profound example that captures this dynamic perfectly. The story of the 2110 Chilean miners trapped 20-30 feet underground for 69 days after a collapse. 33 men faced unimaginable darkness, heat, and despair. The media above circled in frenzy, the world watched in anxiety, but deep below the miners had a different reality. They had to survive, not just physically, but psychologically. Their leader, Luis Uruza, understood that survival depended on more than food and water. It required mental fortitude and emotional steadiness. He established daily routines, rituals that created structure out of chaos. The men sang together, shared stories, and supported one another through laughter and tears. Azua's calm presence was a beacon in the underground darkness. He never pretended the situation was easy or certain, but he projected steadiness that gave the men hope and courage. This calm was infectious. It spread from Urzo to every miner, building a collective resilience that was stronger than the crushing weight of rock above them. Without this shared sense of calm and order, the despair might have overwhelmed them. Instead, they survived. This story teaches us something critical about leadership and influence. You don't have to be perfect. You don't need to have all the answers or pretend that fear doesn't exist. What people need is steadiness, a reliable presence that signals we will get through this together. That steadiness allows others to find their own courage, their own resolve. Consider your own life and the environments you influence. Think about moments when you felt truly supported even if things weren't going well. Chances are it wasn't the perfection of those around you, but their calm confidence that made the difference. That energy communicated safety, trust, and possibility. When chaos erupts, and it will, remember that your energy is the message. You have the power to either escalate fear or to dampen it. You can choose to be the calm in the storm, the steady hand, the clear mind, the warm heart that others look to for reassurance. It starts with recognizing that calm isn't passive or weak. It's active and powerful. It takes courage to stay steady when everything around you is shaking. It requires intentionality to regulate your own emotions, to breathe deeply, and to respond with clarity rather than react with panic. You can practice this in small ways every day. When a meeting grows tense, pause and take a breath before you speak. When a loved one is upset, listen deeply without rushing to fix. When your mind races with what-if scenarios, remind yourself of what you can control and what you cannot. These moments of choosing calm build momentum. They create ripples that spread through your team, your family, your community. Over time, you become the source others look to when uncertainty strikes. Panic will always be there, lurking at the edges. It's a natural response to threat. But panic, left unchecked, fractures connection and clouds judgment. Calm, on the other hand, rebuilds bridges and sharpens focus. It is the foundation of effective leadership and resilient teams. So when you face your next challenge, remember the miners trapped underground, the nurses in emergency rooms, the quiet strength that turns fear into courage. You don't have to be perfect, you just need to be steady. Your calm is a gift. It is a lifeline, and it is contagious. Choose it, embody it. Watch how it transforms not just your own experience, but the world around you. Life has a way of hitting us hard. It doesn't ask permission, nor does it wait for us to be ready. Rejection, failure, and doubt are not just possibilities. They are inevitabilities. No one escapes them. These challenges come for everyone, whether we like it or not. But what defines us is not the fact that life knocks us down. It's how we respond when we find ourselves on the ground. This is where calm becomes more than a fleeting feeling. It becomes a source of strength. Calm doesn't erase the pressure or the pain. It doesn't make failure disappear or rejection less sharp. What it does is give you the capacity to carry those burdens without being crushed by them. Calm is the sturdy foundation beneath your feet when the storm rages. Think about the last time you faced a setback. Maybe you didn't get the promotion you hoped for, or a relationship ended unexpectedly. Perhaps a project you poured your heart into failed. In those moments, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, to let fear and frustration take hold. But when you cultivate calm, you create a space within yourself to process what's happened without being consumed by it. Research by the American Psychological Association sheds light on what resilience truly means. It's not about avoiding stress or pretending everything is fine. Resilient people are not those who dodge challenges. They are the ones who meet adversity head-on with composure and a clear mind. They don't deny the difficulty, but they refuse to be defined by it. They carry their burdens with purpose, not panic. Purpose is the secret ingredient that gives calm its power. Without purpose, calm can feel hollow, just an empty quiet. But when calm is paired with purpose, it becomes a guiding force. Purpose gives your calm direction. It reminds you why you keep showing up even when the road is rough. It anchors you in meaning and fuels your determination. Purpose is deeply personal. For some, it might be the commitment to family, to a vision, or to a set of values. For others, it's the pursuit of a dream or the desire to make a difference in the world. Whatever it is, purpose transforms calm from mere presence into active strength. When you face rejection, purpose helps you see beyond the immediate pain. It shifts your focus from what you've lost to what you're building. When doubt creeps in, purpose reminds you of the bigger picture, the reason you started, the goals that matter most. It fuels your ability to endure, to learn, and to grow. Calm without purpose is like a ship without a rudder, steady, but aimless. Purpose without calm is like a rudderless ship caught in a storm, directionless and overwhelmed. Together, they create resilience that can weather any storm. Consider the stories of those who have faced enormous challenges, yet found a way to persevere. Their calm was not born from denial or passivity, but from a deliberate choice to face hardship with a clear mind and a resolute heart. Their purpose propelled them forward even when every reason to quit seemed louder. You have this power within you. When life hits hard, you don't have to crumble under the weight. You can respond with calm, carrying the pressure instead of letting it carry you. And when calm is guided by purpose, that response becomes unstoppable. This is not about perfection or invulnerability. It's about embracing your humanity, the fears, the doubts, the failures, and choosing to move forward anyway. It's about showing up again and again, fueled by the knowledge that your calm and your purpose together form a resilience that no storm can break. So when the next challenge comes, and it will remember this, life will hit you hard, but how you respond is your power. Cultivate calm, find your purpose, let them work together to strengthen your resilience and keep you standing no matter what. Let's bring our journey full circle, returning to the very heart of what it means to keep calm and succeed. This isn't just a catchy phrase or fleeting trend. It's a profound mindset, a way of being that has the power to transform everything we do and how we face life's inevitable storms. Choosing to keep calm is not about weakness or passivity. Far from it. It's a fierce act of courage. It's the deliberate choice to prioritize clarity over chaos when the world feels like it's spinning out of control. It's about showing up fully present, not overwhelmed by panic or distraction. It's about embodying resilience, standing strong, not because challenges disappear, but because we refuse to be broken by them. In a world that seems to demand speed, loudness, and constant movement, calm is revolution. It's the stillness that cuts through the noise, the quiet strength that allows us to think clearly and act purposefully. The world around us will not get easier. We will face uncertainty, setbacks, and pressure that push us to the edge. But here's the truth. We can get stronger. We can build an inner fortress of calm that holds us steady no matter what. Calm doesn't mean sitting back and letting life happen to us. It means leaning in with confidence and control. It means harnessing the power of our breath, our focus, and our emotional intelligence to lead ourselves and others with grace and intention. When we stay calm, we create space to see possibilities rather than obstacles. We inspire trust and loyalty because people sense our steadiness and strength. Calm is magnetic, draws others in, and creates a foundation for collective success. Think about the most powerful people you've ever encountered. Chances are it wasn't their volume or aggression that made them memorably, it was their quiet confidence, their ability to listen deeply and respond thoughtfully. They weren't reactive, they were proactive, they weren't swept away by emotion, they harnessed it to fuel their vision and purpose. This is the fierce nature of calm. It doesn't roar or dominate. It holds ground, it steadies. and that empowerment ripples outward, creating environments where innovation flourishes, relationships deepen, and resilience becomes the norm rather than the exception. You don't have to be the loudest voice in the room to lead. You don't have to rush to respond to prove your worth. Sometimes the most powerful force is the one that waits, breathes, and then moves with precision and conviction. Choosing calm is an act of rebellion against the frantic pace and noise of modern life. It's a reclaiming of our ability to control what we can, our mindset, our reactions, our present. It's the acknowledgement that while we cannot always control what happens to us, we can control how we show up and how we move forward. This mindset, this way of being is what separates those who merely survive from those who truly succeed. It's what transforms setbacks into comebacks, fear into courage, and chaos into clarity. It's what allows us to lead not just ourselves but others through the toughest of times. So as you step back into your world, remember this: the power to keep calm is already within you. It's a muscle you can strengthen with practice, intention, and purpose. When you choose calm, you choose success. Not just the success of achieving goals, but the deeper success of living a life defined by meaning, strength, and grace. The world may throw its hardest challenges your way, but your calm will be your greatest weapon. It will steady your mind, ignite your creativity, anchor your relationships, and fuel your resilience. It is fierce, it is formidable, and it is yours. Thank you for embracing this journey. Thank you for choosing calm, and thank you for choosing to succeed.